Don't let anybody control you. What do I mean by that? If someone upsets you, they're controlling you. You are reacting to their action. And you can't control anyone. If you think you can, you're mistaken. Let's think about the jailer and the prisoner. The jailer has to be there to make sure the prisoner stays a prisoner. So in reality, the prisoner is controlling the jailer. There cannot be a prisoner without a jailer, nor a jailer without a prisoner. Think about that for a while. Before we begin, hit that like button and subscribe. Check out my books on Amazon, Coming Back Home, The True Adventure of Mark Daniels, and The Power is Within. And I didn't go to Playa del Carmen because something wrong with my passport. It's a brand new passport, and the government screwed it up. Imagine that. Can you believe that? So now I get to send it back and wait for them to send me another one. So no more travel until I get that back. But let's be optimistic. Maybe it will be back in 3 or 4 weeks. I'm thinking about going to Colombia. Okay, anyway, control. Control. Do you have someone living inside your head rent-free? What do I mean by that? Are you thinking about that person that cut you off last night? Or are you complaining about your wife or your girlfriend or your ex-girlfriend? Are you talking about how irresponsible she is, how many mistakes she makes, how she nags and complains at you? She's controlling you. She's living in your head rent-free. Acceptance is the answer to all your problems today. Nothing happens in God's world by mistake. You have to accept life on life's terms. You don't have to like it, but there are many things, most things you can't change. Some things you can change, but generally that lies between your ears. The things you can change is the way you perceive and the way you think about things. You have complete control over that. And lo and behold, when you change that, the outer world magically changes. Not in an instant. And that's why a lot of people like to drink, do drugs, overeat, because that changes the way they feel in that moment. What they don't realize is they could change the way they feel by changing their thinking. And the better you think, the better your world becomes. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. A man's life is dyed by the color of his thoughts. Marcus Aurelius. Buddha, what did he say about thoughts? Well, something similar to that. There are many of the greats throughout history who are famous, who are known by millions of people now and millions of people when they were living. Well, maybe not millions, but yeah, probably. We didn't have social media back then. But the reason they live is because of their thoughts. And their thoughts created their words, which they said, and then thus their actions. So what are you thinking today? Are you thinking about them and everyone out there? Are you blaming everyone? Like the person knocking on my door? Excuse me. I'm doing a video.
I'm sorry, I forgot.
I just told him 3 minutes ago to please be quiet because I'm making a video. But hey, I can't change that. So I can get angry about it. I can say, man, how in the hell could you? I just told him. All right, I could do that. What is that going to accomplish? Is that going to make anything any better? Is it going to change the fact that he knocked on the door? No, it's not. So why do you complain and bitch about things that happened 5 minutes ago, 5 days ago, 5 months ago, or 5 years ago? Is it going to change anything? No. All it does is keep that alive within you. Something that upsets you, something that you cannot change, something that you are still allowing to control you. How do I know that? Because I've done it. Hell, I did it yesterday. But you have to become aware of what you're doing. Then you can stop it. Now, we're always going to have these I hate to call them battles because that sets up a perception of something you have to fight against. These actually are opportunities for growth, the resistance. I've spoke about this before, but if you go to the gym, you have to have weights to create resistance to enlarge and strengthen your muscles. And as you get stronger, you put more weight on there to create more resistance. The same as in life. When you get through one challenging situation where you want to be resentful or think badly about someone or continue to speak about how wrong they were, about how their actions affected you, if you're not aware of that, then you just continue to make that worse and you draw more of that into your life. But if you're aware of that thought pattern that wants to continue in your head, you can do affirmations speaking exactly the opposite of what you're wanting to be resentful about or what you're wanting to be angry about. You need to verbally affirm what you want instead of verbally affirming what you don't want, what happened to you, what you don't like. If you spent, and myself too, as much time and energy in talking and speaking about what you desire instead of complaining about what you don't want, you'd be amazed how your life would change. Now, as I tell you this message, it helps me. It just reinforces in me what I need to do. Now, I struggle with this too. Everyone does. But you have the control over your mind. And if you don't, you can learn to have control. You can start changing your thinking. But the first thing to do is to be aware of that. Let's talk about it in respects to girls. How many of you, I've done this, you see a beautiful girl and the first thing you think is you're going to go up and talk to her. Well, that's the first intuitive thought that comes to you. But the second is a logical, rational thought. And you think, she's probably got a boyfriend. She's too pretty for me. Why would she want me? I'm not good enough for her. Or whatever you tell yourself to self-sabotage your chances of having something you desire. We've all done it. But instead, why don't you approach her with the idea that, I wonder if I'll like her, or I know she's going to like me. You have a choice to think whichever way you desire. The choice is always yours. And also, if you go up with a positive attitude, it changes everything about what comes out of your mouth and your body movements, your body language, as they call it. I think it is the infamous they, say that 85% of communication is nothing to do with the words you're speaking, but it's everything about who you are. And that's why a lot of guys want these lines to pick up girls. You can say just about anything if you're confident, self-sufficient, you have self-esteem, if you're a man who believes in himself. Doesn't matter what you say because your words are preempted or overpowered, you could say, by who you are. And in the same respect, or in contrary, even if you have the best line, if you go up to say it to someone, some girl, it doesn't matter if you don't feel the best inside, if you don't feel like you're somebody inside, if you don't believe you're somebody inside, if you don't believe she's lucky or fortunate that you would talk to her. Now, I'm not talking about being arrogant, but it's better to err on the side of arrogance than debasing humility. Too many people don't think enough about themselves. Low self-esteem, low self-worth, low self-value is one of the most common problems that we have. People don't believe in themselves. They've been taught to listen to outer authorities on everything, to follow the crowd, to follow the masses, which is obvious in what we saw in the last 2 or 3 years. And I won't get into that because I got a little sticker on the bottom of the last video I did by mentioning something about that. So we are restricted to what we say on certain platforms, but they own it, so they have the right to do that. Someone is texting me a message here. Someone wants to sell me a van, but I'm not interested in buying it. So think about that. What are you allowing to go on in your mind today? Are you allowing others to control your thinking? You have complete dominion over what goes on between your ears. But first you have to become aware of what is going on between your ears. Your thoughts create your life. Your thoughts determine your actions determine your future and your success or failure. So be aware of what you're thinking today. Take care. Have a great day.